every now and again. I teach at a college called Humber College, and one of my students came to me and said, "Man, you gotta check out this band, Snarky Puppy." But without realizing, I had actually stepped into the auditorium at the school maybe about 2 months prior to my student telling me about this. They had actually done a clinic at my school. I looked in, I was like, man, that is funky. And it sounds like 2 drummers, but I only see 1 drum kit. Okay, I gotta go teach. Right, fast forward, I was playing in another band called Rinse the Algorithm at the time, with a bassist, amazing bassist named Rich Brown, out of Toronto. And we did a double bill at a club called The Rex. We did the last Saturday of every month, and Snarky Puppy was playing the 9:30 slot before us. So they played, then we played, and then we all got on the small, tiny stage, which is like probably 2/3 of this stage, maybe half this stage actually, and played Teen Town together and just jammed out for the night. The next day, because I did 2 nights at the Rex, they told me, man, like, it would be great to see you tomorrow. So of course, I'm gonna show up. And actually what I did when I first saw Sput is I basically listed his resume in a very hilarious fanboy way. And he just stopped me, he's like, man, looked at Mike League and he's like, this guy's telling me my resume right now. I was like, yeah, because I've been listening to you from like the mid-90s. I was like 10, you don't understand. I'm meeting you, you're the guy. Still have a huge amount of love and respect for him, it's amazing. So, fast forward to the next day, which was day 2 in Toronto, and on the set break, they said, would you like to come up and play? I was like, sure, but I don't actually know your songs. I'm like, don't worry, we'll teach you one right now. So they taught me a song on the break, and then they had me come up right away, and I played the song. And every time they came back to town, I would play that song, but I would also do some homework on the side and learn a couple others in case they wanted to call those tunes. Fast forward a couple of years, I think in 2013, we had played in Toronto, and I think, yeah, we played 2 nights in Toronto, and for whatever reason, like, Sput was taking over the rest of the US dates, but I think something happened with his passport because the government shutdown was happening at that exact moment. So his passport was locked in circulation. I get a frantic Skype message or Facebook message from Mike League saying, is there any way that you can fly to the Netherlands tomorrow to do this recording with us? The recording was gonna happen on, it's gonna be the Monday, all right? And I'm getting this message over Facebook on the Thursday. Now, I had been rehearsing with the choir all month long to do their 25th anniversary recording, which was happening on the Saturday, okay? But we were also doing a recorded dress rehearsal on the Friday. You guys following what's happening here? So they tell me, we might need you, let's figure it out. We'll buy the ticket. If we don't need you, we'll scrap it. If we do need you, you're on that plane. They booked me the flight for the Sunday night, landing into the Netherlands on the Monday morning. Now, like I said, I was doing a 25th anniversary DVD recording with a choir called Toronto Mass Choir. The album's called Made for Worship. Did the dress rehearsal, organized drums over the phone on the Friday. My companies were amazing. They got me that stuff like no time. Got the material on the Saturday, but I'm at the concert, so I can't sit backstage and, you know, listen to Snarky Puppy while I have a really important recording happening for thousands of people. Concert's done, I go home, I get some rest, pack my bags, my wife helps me, puts my songs on my iPad for me, and she was like, okay, good luck. Get on the plane, 7-hour flight, learned the material, did not sleep, landed. They added one more song that showed up in my email when I landed. So when my cab driver that they hired did not show up, I spent that time learning that tune, got down to the venue where we were doing the recording, and they're like, Larnell, so glad to see you. Put your bags down. Here's a little food. Let's get to it. 4-hour rehearsal. Eat some more food. And then we hit it. We did 2 recordings every night over 4 nights. If you have the DVD, you'll see them talk about the story, but they actually have bonus footage, which is 3 other drum solos of What About Me? And one of those is actually from that first night. So to kind of go further to your question, so everyone understands the history now and understands like what actually happened. Yes, it is that crazy. I mentioned earlier that I subbed into a gig when I was 7 years old. So subbing into gigs last minute is something that I've been doing throughout my life. And for whatever reason, I just get these calls. Hey man, we're about to do this TV hit. Hey, can you come and sight read some charts? We're about to do this gig. Hey, I heard you in town. Can you show up and do this recording session? Hey, my drummer broke his foot. Can you come and play? And I would just get these calls. One in particular that was pretty crazy. Well, 2. One happened earlier this year. An artist named Byron Cage, gospel artist. He was coming to Toronto, and his drummer got stuck at the border, which is usually what happens why I end up getting a call so last minute. So they're like, okay. Now, I kind of know songs, but not really. So they're like, okay, well, here's a Dropbox folder. It's like, okay, cool. This is like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Sunday afternoon. Yeah, so what time is the show? 6 o'clock. Like, oh, how many songs? Yeah, it's 10. It's like, okay, so I have 3 hours to learn 10 songs. What? That process for learning that material went down like this. I was ironing my clothes at the same time. I have a quick charting system that I use for those emergency moments, where I chart out the form of the song once, and then I can do a second listen to finalize any shots, and then a third listen to make sure that everything is correct. I only had time to do 1.5 listens of each tune. So do the quick charting, remember the trouble spots. Maybe I would put a circle or something around a particular bar, and then go to that minute mark, listen for that thing, and just grab as much as I could. The funny stories that show up, they cut 4 of the tunes, add 3 more, one which is a medley consisting of 3 other songs. 5 minutes before we got on stage, they're like, yeah, just go on YouTube and listen to it. We'd like to present to you Minister Byron Cage. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, man. So I get on stage and, kind of to connect it to Snarky Puppy, a big thing is eyes, visual cues, looking up. Big thing. Another is I had a paper with the list of the songs, but I wrote words that would remind me of what the song felt like. So, when you listen to music over and over again, you might add pictures to it. You might have a specific feeling, you might move a certain way. And I tried to retain all of those triggers so that I could just write them down on a piece of paper, repeat the trigger, and then say write. It gives me that ability to just kind of find my place, and I think some people call it a mental mansion or something like that. I was able to place it in my mind in a particular place and return back to it. So my short answer really turned super long, but basically all it is that over time, I've had an opportunity to exercise that tool. And the ways of doing that, if you were curious about working that out, is you could listen to the radio. If you play a chordal instrument, just see if you can actually pick up the changes and follow along with the song before the song is done. Once it's gone, you're on to the next tune. So literally just challenging yourself to retain as much material in a short amount of time as possible. It's really interesting because you'll be surprised how much you pick up and the things that you leave out. And those things that I leave out, they actually give me an opportunity to interpret what is going on. However, I still need to retain form first and foremost. I'm a visual thinker, so there are images and pictures that I see once I hear music, and it just takes me to that place, and then I play appropriately for what it is that I'm seeing in my mind. I'm a crazy person. But it's very helpful,
yeah.
And in those situations, it really helped.
Thank you.
Cool. One more question. I think you were over here, yes.
I want to
to ask about on-beat playing versus off-beat playing.
Okay.
Is it going to bugger up my brain?
When you say on-beat playing versus off-beat playing, could you